But we begin closer to home with that fast-moving wildfire burning near a popular mountain town north of Vancouver. A local state of emergency is in place as flames edge dangerously close to some homes and some key infrastructure. The fire broke out last night and by midday had already covered the size of 12 football fields. Fire crews have been at it all day, working the blaze from both the ground and the air. People in about 100 homes have been told they have to be ready to leave at a moment's notice. And this is where it's all unfolding. This is about an hour drive north of Vancouver and right beside what's called the Sea to Sky Highway. It's the main route linking Vancouver and Whistler. Okay. A local state of emergency, as I say, now in effect in Squamish, and that's due to the wildfire that's threatening these homes in the mountain community. Georgie Smythe is our reporter who is there. She's just off that major highway I was talking about. So, Georgie, talk to us about the latest that you're hearing in terms of where things stand.
Yeah, well, you can see behind me, we're just south of the fire now. Still a lot of activity here. You might be able to hear helicopters flying overhead, still dropping buckets on this fire, which, as you say, is burning extremely close to a major thoroughfare, the Sea to Sky Highway, which links Vancouver, Whistler and Squamish together. I'll get out of the way so you can take a better look at this live shot we have here. And you can see where the fire's been moving across that ridge line here, and perhaps even some of the red retardant that's been dropped in the last 24 hours. You've got a helicopter going over the ridge there, possibly surveying the damage that we've seen today, and some of the winds that we've witnessed here pushing that fire to the northeast towards Whistler, which was the fear, these predominant winds that we get in Squamish nearly every day. And that fire just chewing through the really dry forest floor that's been parched from the warmer weather that we've had in the last few days here. Below that ridgeline is where a lot of the evacuation alert messages have been given to residents. So just below us here, houses that are beneath that ridgeline. We did speak to one resident, Ian McKay, and he's really taking property protection into his own hands.
There's a couple pumps set up here, the deeper section of the creek. For our structure, and then all down here we've got pumps set up, so we're incredibly grateful to be able to have the opportunity to have a body of water to pull from. My bedroom window stares right into the mountain. I can see the fire. It's you could hear the trees coming down, the rocks coming down as well, so it's difficult terrain to navigate, so thankfully we've got the air assets on our side today. But yeah, I guess we're putting a lot of our faith and trust in the forest firefighters and the structural firefighters to support us.
It was incredible standing in Ian's backyard because the ridge is really above the house, so you could really see the ash coming down, and he was really trying to saturate the lawn, keep the gutters clean, just in case any of those embers blew down into his house.
Georgie, just looking at that shot behind you, you can see that the smoke is really coming very close to at least certain houses that we can see. And I know that is the beginning of the Squamish community, which has a pretty sizable population. I'm sure everyone asking, do we know how much more this fire might have grown throughout today?
Yeah, we're really waiting to get an update from the Wildfire Service about how much it has grown. It's certainly, from the people we've spoken to today, it started closer to where we are and has moved northeast, again pushed by those predominant winds we see in Squamish. Squamish is known for its beautiful mountains. It's also known for its extremely gusty afternoon winds that rip up through the Howe Sound, and they push northeast towards Whistler. Whistler is this way. So that's the fear, is that the winds will push the fire up the highway, into transmission lines, into a railway corridor, and certainly more infrastructure in it. And it certainly is this steep terrain that BC is known for that's making fighting the fire a little bit more complicated. This is what officials told us this morning.
Some people at night will see little blits of flaring trees, but it's being driven mostly by a west-facing steep slope. This is going to be the huge challenge for our crews on this fire. There's going to be places that are inaccessible to work, which is going to make this a drawn-out event. We're right now focusing on getting containment at the south and west to protect the homes and put a good containment in that area. But as we move up the hill, especially on the north side of the fire, we're going to be dealing with steep ground, inaccessible ground.
So challenging terrain, of course, complicating these containment efforts. We've just had another few helicopters fly over and throw a few more buckets on this fire. The last thing I'll mention, and you can't see it from where we're standing, but there's actually a CBC transmission tower on that ridge, which is how we broadcast the news to communities in this region. They're often in BC in these remote, hard to reach places. We did have some CBC crew up there this morning that had to evacuate when that fire came through suddenly with a change in wind direction. They're okay, the tower is okay, but really a good reminder of how quickly things can change with this strong wind.
Thanks for that, Georgie. Great to have you on the ground there for us. Okay, now we want to talk about the weather and how that's affecting things. And for that, I'm going to bring in climate specialist Darius Mahdavi right now. Darius, talk to us, whether we have graphics or not. I know you're having a little bit of difficulty there with your computer, but
yes.
Tell us, is there going to be any kind of a break for this particular area around Squamish?
Yes, so I think there's a little bit of good news on the horizon. I'm going to say it's not going to be a trump card by any means, but a window for wildfire fighters to get in there and hopefully make a bit of a difference in this fire. Now, it is still quite small. We saw some growth overnight and through today, growing from about 5 hectares to about 8 now, but it's still a small contained fire. It is considered out of control, but it will hopefully soon become being held. Now, temperatures have been very high in the Squamish area, nearing or over 30 degrees. That will be very similar tomorrow, high of around 28, but then temperatures come down significantly on Thursday. And when that happens, we're going to see also some showers moving in. It'll probably be a few hours, maybe 2 to 4 hours of some light precipitation, but it will hopefully be enough for wildfire fighters to, get hold of that fire. I think one of the big things with this one in particular is that even though it's really close to the highway into a community, it's not considered a wildfire of note. And I think that's a good indication of the fact that the BC Wildfire Service does think that they can get this fire under control before we have any knock-on impacts to any of these surrounding areas. And I think that's a really important thing to remember.
Sure. Well, let's hope that's the case. Thank you very much, Darius.
Thank you.
And for more on that, I'm now going to speak with the mayor of Squamish, Armand Herford. He joins us now Armand, what's the latest that you're hearing? And we were talking to Georgie. She said she hasn't heard yet size in terms of how much this fire may or may not have grown. But what can you tell us about the latest?
Yeah, well, the latest we have is that the fire is around that 8 hectare size at this point. And as we heard through the interview with BC Wildfire, the terrain is of that 8 hectares is largely vertical and is extremely challenging for our ground crews and for the fixed wing water bombers to participate in. So we've been relying on the helicopters. We've had 4 on site today. Bucketing strategically to keep the community safe. But we're at 8 hectares, and we're fingers crossed that we don't see much growth from there, and that all these efforts can be moving this situation in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Also challenging is the potential for any kind of an evacuation, because we've been talking about the fact the Sea to Sky Highway is really it's the route in and out of Squamish. This fire is pretty close to that highway, and Squamish is a pretty sizable population. I'm sorry, I don't know the actual population, but how big is it, and how many people living there are right now on alert to possibly have to leave?
Yeah, thank you. Squamish is a 30,000 person community, and at this point in time, we have approximately 100 properties on evacuation alert. So they've been told to be ready to that there may be an order for them to evacuate and to be ready to do so. So a small section of the community on the northern end of town is affected at this point. And as we heard through earlier statements, we're cautiously optimistic they can be contained to that area at this point in time.
Okay, and I was actually surprised earlier today to learn that there's now a state of emergency declared for all of Squamish.
What's been declared as a local state of emergency, which gives us specific powers in specific areas. So this is the ability to compel evacuation or to access a private property in response to an emergency. So this is really issued with an abundance of caution. Should the situation escalate, we'll be well positioned to execute our plans moving forward.
Help me understand. So if somebody, and right now I'm talking about this because people are on alert to possibly have to leave, where do you expect that they will go to? I know certainly Squamish, it's a tourist destination for many. There's the hiking, there's the kite surfing off of in the water. Would people be going to hotels within Squamish, or would you be asking them to evacuate further?
Those are the plans that that are being developed with our teams at this point. So I don't want to get into too much speculation as to what that might look like or where those folks should go should they need to be evacuated. But rest assured, our teams are working on those plans should they be needed. It's unlikely we'll need to go outside of Squamish for that response, given the relatively. It's very impactful for those folks, but it is a sliver of the community. So we should be able to handle that here, but it really depends on the scale of what the future holds for us.
Armin, you're someone who you're not just the mayor and a Squamish resident, but as business-wise, I understand that you run a company that makes trails. Basically, you're very familiar with the forest, is I guess what I'm getting at, and you live in Squamish.
I do live in Squamish. I don't run a company that of any sort at this point in time, but that's okay. I've been involved in the Squamish Off-Road Cycling Association for 30 plus years. I'm the chair of the community forest. So from a lot of perspectives, I'm very involved in what happens in the forests around the community. Yes.
Armin, you know what? I apologize.
Well,
I'm about to interview somebody from Squamish who does make trails. But thank you. That was a great answer talking about your familiarity. I'm sure this is a worst case scenario for you as mayor of Squamish. And I do appreciate your time tonight. Good luck.
Thank you so much. And I'd just like to thank the community for all the support. We've had great outreach from the business community, from individuals supporting our emergency responders. And when you interview people here, I was happy to hear from my friend Ian and his defenses of his home. So, this isn't an academic exercise. This is our community, and it's great to see everyone pulling together and working together to protect us all. So thank you for your interest in this, and hopefully we'll have another opportunity to share.
Yeah, no, hopefully it's good news. It's 30,000 people, but I know it's a very tight-knit community. Armin Herford, Mayor of Squamish, thanks again.